So, do you remember when we did the lock at Ellesmere Port? And we went down into the drain canal lock and we looked at the work they were doing for replacing the gates. And I said at the time, when they talked about the fish rescue, I said, wow, I'd love to see that. Hello, my name is Martin. Welcome back to another video. I'm here in Wolverhampton on the Birmingham mainline canal. The Canal River Trust have drained this section of the canal because they're putting in new lock gates and they're going to do a fish rescue. So we're a bit out of our comfort zone here in Wolverhampton, aren't we? But it's been a pleasure to come down, invited down by the Canal River Trust. Like I say, you can see this section here they've drained, new lock gates either end, and obviously they have to do fish rescue. I'm going to show you some footage of the guys going into the what remains of the canal, and they're going to walk along and they're going to stun the fish with electricity, and then they're going to net them out. So it'll be interesting to see what sort of fish they bring out. I'm going to get an expert to speak to you in a bit and tell you exactly what's going on and give you some fishy facts. This is John Ellis from the Canal River Trust. So John, can you tell us what's going on here today?
Yeah, we're here today on the canal on the Wolverhampton flight, and I'm supervising the fish rescue operation. Brilliant. Now, you might be wondering why we're bothering rescuing the fish. Well, actually, it's a legal requirement. If we allowed the fish to simply die, Canal and River Trust would be almost certainly prosecuted under the Animal Welfare Act. So we have a legal duty to protect the fish, and so what we're doing is rescuing them. We actually pass a small electric current, sort of 1 to 2 amps into the water. That sort of temporarily stuns the fish, disables their ability to swim. They float to the surface. The operatives then use a hand net, put them in some clean aerated water, recover for 5 to 10 minutes, and then we'll put them back in the nearest section of canal that's actually full of water.
So I'm hoping they find some pike. Pike terrify me. I reserve the right. I'm a little bit squeamish about fish, the sliminess and the prehistoric nature of them all and everything, but call me soft. I'll just have to declare that one right now. I'm hoping we see some pike. We may not. So we're up to the net now, so we're hoping we've driven something a bit monstrous up here. I was looking to see some pike today, but we've not seen any pike.
No, I thought you might get a pike or two here. Yeah. We usually do, but having said that, it's quite a small pound. Pike are quite territorial. You'd expect to find one perhaps every 100 or 200 metres.
Oh, is that how it works? Is that?
Yes, pike right. Are very much territorial.
Wow.
I think the eel was in that square.
A little bit more down here because it's flatter. Yeah.
Look at that fish soup. So, John, after the fish have been stunned, how long did they all recover, and how long did they take to recover?
They virtually all recover. Now, it would be not true to say that no fish has ever died, but 99.9% of the fish survive. They recover in 2 to 10 minutes. Depends a bit on the weather, on the conductivity of the water,
really, and
the temperature. The cooler it is, the better.
So we've gone 1 pound further up to release the fish, and we can show you some pictures of the fish.
Oh, nice. Oh, that's beautiful, that, isn't it? Look at that. That is gorgeous.
Got some nice roach.
They're already coming back to life.
Yeah, they're all getting ready to go. Some of the smaller ones will take a bit longer. Trying to find this eel. There's an eel in there somewhere, but they're very slippery customers. But there's some stunning perch. I'll get some of these back and see if I can find the eel.
Certainly don't like doing this work once April's out. It's not a summer job unless there's no other option, you know, because obviously the fish would die if you didn't rescue them, but it's not something we like to do in the really hot weather.
Is this because we're in a state of like metabolically?
Totally right, yes.
Is that right?
Yes. So the fish, they are the same temperature as the water.
Right.
And so when it's cold, the chemical reactions are slow, so the fish's metabolism is slow. It doubles for every 10 degrees centigrade rise in temperature. And so if you go from 4 degrees to 24, you've quadrupled the rate of chemical reactions, and fish need much more oxygen, much more food.
And the electricity is going to affect them greatly?
Yes, much more so, yes.
Right.
Yes, so I don't like electrofishing in the summer months. Usually by the middle of April, that's late enough. I mean, it might depend. It depends on the water temperature and the part of the country. But if you get a warm spell in April, that's telling you that it's time to stop electrofishing.
So I'll just show you where we are in Wolverhampton. We got the train, so we're just up from the station, just up sort of north, if you like, on the Birmingham Canal, and we're around this area here, around locks 7 and 8 on the Birmingham Canal. So obviously all this work is for new lock gates, and I'm going to show you now the new lock gates. They're in place, they're looking good, they're made of oak, as we know from the Ellesmere Port video, but I'll show you now. They've got the crane system up there, the winch system up there, and they've obviously lowered them in. At the bottom end there, we'll go onto a bridge and we'll look at the other set of lock gates that they've replaced as well. And you'll see the way they've lowered the gates in there, on that. And then you can see actually what they weigh there in kilograms. I don't know if you can see that. There you go, the weight in kilograms, and that'll be a little plaque on there giving the date and everything, but they're looking pretty good then. They're looking pretty good. Look at the I don't know what this bit's called, but this is how you open and close them, this long piece here. Absolutely fantastic. And those are made in Britain, those, the Canal and River Trust workshops. I think that is the paddle down there, is it, that lets the water in and out? You can just see. But very, very interesting. And what we'll do is we'll go onto that bridge at that far end up there, and we'll take a look at the other set of lock gates, so we'll get a good view of them. So there's you go, top end of the locks, and you can see the work being done here. Down there, where are we? We can just see there, that leaf gets out of the way, the new lock gates there. So I'm going to show you the old gates that they've removed. They're just on one of the boats here. A ton each apparently they weigh. They're the old gates there, lock number 7 you see. You can see here, this is the actual gate. You can see the hinge mechanism there. They just sort of like, I think they just one of the brackets sits in there, or they kind of I heard the term float. So apparently fish are very important for the ecology. Can you talk us through that one there, please?
They are very important for the ecology. They are part of a natural ecosystem. So, you know, fish are feeding on small insects and things like that. And there are, of course, other living things that rely on fish populations for their food. Kingfishers,
yeah,
herons, even otters. They need healthy fish populations. And fish populations are a pretty good indicator of the health of the canal, of its water quality, because if the water quality isn't any good, you won't find a fish population. And that was true in some parts of the network when I joined in the 1980s. Yeah. But since then, water quality has improved, particularly in parts of Yorkshire and here on the Birmingham Canal network.
The guys that are doing the rescue are going to do 2 sweeps. So they do an initial sweep, then let some more water out at the bottom end down there, and then they'll do a second sweep and sort of like pick up any stragglers or anything like that. So it'll be interesting to see what they're finding now, if there's anything lurking in the depths. But as you can see, second run, and it's just a final bit mopping up anything they've not found before. There's a little one here, but I think it might be. I think it might be the end of the road for it.
Oh, it's still moving.
Is it still moving?
Yeah. It's two there.
Yeah, it's still moving.
How long can you stay out of water for?
If they're wet, if they take completely wet, they're okay for a long time.
There you go. Our little friend's been rescued.
Nate hasn't got the other one there.
So whether you're walking, running, cycling, boating, walking the dogs or taking the kids fishing, we all love a canal and the wildlife we see by the canals. So the Canal River Trust is a charity, and there's a donate button there on their website. And as you can see here, if you love the work they do, much of it done by volunteers, and the fact that they're a charity, you can drop them a couple of quid there if you choose to do so. You can also donate by phone or by post. So there you go, support your local canal and the work of the Canal and River Trust. So some buried in the mud there. Ooh, ooh. Oh, there he is, yeah.
Do you often get eels?
They're more far between than they used to be. They're there's a lot. I find a lot in Wales.
Wow.
Oh,
it's a corker, isn't
get
it?
it right, the GoPro out to his head.
Yeah.
Eels are severely, critically endangered, I think is the technical term.
Are they?
Yes, they are more endangered, more risk of going extinct than the Chinese panda. There's
Really?
an interesting fact, yes.
Wow, wow.
Population of pandas is stable,
Yeah.
whereas the population of eels has declined, or the European eel has declined by approximately 90% over the last 30 years. And canals are really important habitat for eels. They enjoy the silty, muddy conditions, and they can spend anything from 15 to 20 years living on our canals before they then return back to the Sargasso Sea from where they came some number of years ago.
It's 15 to 20 years they can live.
Yes, well they can live maybe 40, 50.
Wow. And imagine they get to some size by the end of this, is that right?
The biggest eel I've ever seen on a fish rescue is about 4 kilos, 8.5 pounds.
Wow.
Which is very close to the largest eel that's ever been caught on rod and line
Fantastic.
in the UK. So canals for anglers who are interested in fishing for eels, and there's a few of them, they hold fish of specimen size.
Wow. So some of this information that John's given us is blowing my mind. The fact about the eels has just blown my mind completely. I never ever knew that. But the way that they navigate is fantastic. So if you're enjoying this video, I highly recommend you go to the Canal and River Trust website, and you can click on here, things to do. And if you click on there, you could even find an open day where they may be doing some work on a canal near you, and you can go along and see behind the scenes. John was also telling us about a section on the Canal and River Trust webpage where you can learn to fish, and it's something that's great for any beginners. If you've never been fishing before, you can take the kids down to various workshops and you can learn how to fish responsibly. And they've got a list of events there where you can find a fishing event and you can go down and take fishing lessons, take the kids down, teach them how to fish responsibly. There you go, I'm sure there's something in your area. A wealth of information on the Canal and River Trust website. And I wanted to ask you about invading species, because we sometimes find ourselves in the odd river and we see these crayfish. Do you have any invading species of fish that shouldn't be here?
Yes, as well as the signal crayfish, which aren't technically fish but are actually legally fish, strangely, under the Salmon and Freshwater Fisheries Act. It says crayfish are fish. But forgetting the signal crayfish, if we actually put what are taxonomically fish, there's 4 or 5 species, different species of invasives in the UK. The one which causes the Canal and River Trust most issues is a species called zander.
Zander.
Native to Europe, but not native to England. It does very well in places that are highly coloured, to what we call turbid, and shallow. In other words, it's ideally suited to canals. The problem with that is that it basically destroys the roach populations, gudgeon populations, and the bullhead populations. Now, bullhead are an IUCN Red List protected species, so it's having quite a detrimental impact on the ecology of some of the canals in the West Midlands where it's reasonably well established. So we're working to halt its further spread, and where people illegally introduce new populations, we eradicate those where possible, and we've done 4 successful eradications in the last half a dozen years or so. So that's a roach fry that would have been spawned about last May.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Last May.
Yeah, so it's you know, about 8 months old, that one. If you look at the scales, so this is another roach, you look at the scales on them, they're like trees.
Yeah.
You can, they have rings on and you can age the fish.
Oh, is that what you do?
Yeah, so if you took a scale, put it under the microscope, you could pretty much work out how old it is, because
Right.
it grows in the summer, doesn't grow in the winter, just like a tree.
Ah. And it had a blue tinge to the
Yes, the roach has a lovely hint of blue,
You can
indeed.
see that on the camera.
Yeah, and they do vary a bit in colour, fish, depending
Yeah.
on, you know, the water where they live.
Really?
If you find really peaty water, they go really dark.
Do they?
I'll just put these back.
Right, to safety. So this lot are going to freedom again now, in the other part of the canal where there's plenty of water. So I've got a question for you, and it's something that perplexes me when I'm walking down. I live near the Rochdale Canal, and I see these little ducklings, and I've seen the size of some of the pike in the canal, and I often wonder if the pike are ever a threat to ducks or ducklings.
Absolutely.
They are?
Yes. Oh, yeah.
You've terrified me.
Yeah, I'm afraid to say it's part of nature. Nature can be a bit cruel and vicious at
Wow.
times, but yes, a pike will certainly take a duckling. Yeah,
But only
maybe.
a duckling, not a...
Perhaps even an adult
Wow.
bird. They'll certainly try. I've seen lots of photos of pike with small birds in their stomachs.
When it's icy and the canal's iced over, this doesn't bother the fish, they just go metabolically slower, is
Exactly.
that right?
Underneath the ice, the water temperature is 4 degrees centigrade. That's when it's most dense. The water is, you know, it freezes from the top rather than freezing from the bottom. Basically, the fish sit at the bottom, not doing very much. Probably don't eat for days and weeks on end.
Right.
If you got an exceptional winter, like 1963, which is a winter when I was a very young fella, yeah, the last really bad one where lakes would freeze with 18 inches of ice. You literally got some lakes in Shropshire where they froze from top to bottom.
Wow.
And then it does kill fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that's quite a rare thing. And in that winter, the population of kingfishers crashed by something like 90%
Because they can't
because
sustain.
they couldn't access food because
Yeah.
everything was literally frozen over. The same would have been true in 1947, I think.
Yeah. Right. So no pike today, but eels. The eel fact just blew my mind. John was amazing and fantastic information, wasn't it?
Yeah, absolutely amazing. I'm blown away by the Eels story.
I never knew that, so I've definitely learned something today. Don't like the idea of the invasive fish because we see the signal fish, don't we? The signal crayfish, and I always get a bit miffed about them, but I can't hurt any animal. I find it difficult, so whatever. Anyway,
You kept your distance from that eel, I noticed.
I thought if he starts flipping about and touches me, I might scream, but maybe not. I could never be a fisherman. Anyway, that's it. So I hope you enjoyed seeing what we've seen today, seeing the fish rescue. Thank you very much to the Canal River Trust for inviting us down. Back to Manchester.
Manchester.
Thanks for watching. Take care. See you in the next video. Bye for now.